Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, wait a minute.
She's still looking for initials.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Okay, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we do a roll call vote, Penny?
Yes. Not a vote.
I mean, whatever. We do that too.
Here. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Do a roll call vote.
Well, no, what I meant is you just call out the names.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Attendance. Debbie.
Here.
Dave.
Here.
Carolyn.
Here. Gary.
Gary.
Here.
And Bill.
Here.
Okay. Visitors. We don't have any, but we have, this is for the, he was here earlier and left. Just dropped off his papers, so. Comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? Okay, we'll move to approval of minutes. Town board meeting of January 11th and the 15th.
On the minutes, I know there's a discrepancy because I had one note put in there. I think it was after we did the checks, if I'm not mistaken, to have a note put in that all checks are to be approved before being sent out.
Yeah.
That was not put in.
Are you, what,
January 11th meeting.
I already have it.
So you want to?
I think it was right after the approval of the checks that I wanted a note put in there.
So we're on the minutes.
And right after the approval of the checks.
Did we,
Checks.
was that part of the motion?
No, it wasn't part of the motion, but I made
Just a
it
note.
a note to be put into the minutes that all checks must be approved by the board before being sent out.
Would that change, would that include the stuff for Fall Fest?
I think that already has approval. That'd be no different than the utilities and the
Because it's
payroll
prior- Because
of the prior.
Okay, just checking. When you say all, I just check.
I mean, that was all previously approved. I mean, we can do utilities, payroll taxes, paychecks.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'd like that added in there as a correction, please.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
I'll move that we accept minutes as corrected.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to accept January 11th minutes as corrected. All those in favor? Oh, go ahead and do the roll call
Debbie.
vote.
Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Okay, the January 15th minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the January 15th minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the January 15th minutes as presented. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote.
Debbie? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Okay, reports, Plan Commission. John was asking who is not here. We would like to, he has given us all the Town of McMillan subdivisions. I put a new copy in because there were a couple of changes that were added after we met with the Joint Plan Commission. And I'm trying to remember. I know there was under major subdivisions, major subdivisions M, the Joint Plan Commission felt that that review of extraterritorial zoning within 3 miles of the city of Marshville should have been added.
So that was just added on to this?
It was just added on to what we got initially, and then the other was also, I think, wasn't that if the subdivision falls within the, up on A, falls within the extraterritorial limit? I think those were the two additions, correct, Dave?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now, I think that they had asked us to approve this, but
You still have to put a P in there
what?
for each site inspection?
Well, we haven't, I think this is, I'm gonna strike this from approving this at this point. That's under new business, but, simply, we didn't decide on any fees. The other thing is that we have a real subdivision ordinance. And I don't know if the two of these shouldn't be kind of studied together. I don't
Why don't
want to
we
hurry
table it?
through this.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we need to put this off until it's ready to pass a resolution to accept it. So, anyway, that was part of that. And then we are going to, John wanted to schedule a meeting, February 22nd, that's the Plan Commission meeting, and the town board to review the CIP. And also the capital improvement plan, plus, I think we can maybe just make our discussion with, this subdivision thing at that time, after people can study through it.
So you're calling for a joint meeting with the Plan Commission on the 22nd?
Yes,
What time?
their meeting usually is at 7. We could probably set a time earlier if you'd like. Since we're setting it,
Yeah.
what do you want?
Do they want to meet with us before their meeting?
No, we're meeting together as a joint
Oh,
meeting
okay.
with the Plan Commission. So,
7 o'clock is fine with me.
7 p.m.
That way we don't have to worry about
Okay.
them not being there on time.
The other thing that I need to have the Plan Commission, I went through the book of Strutt's Quarry to see about the contract on that. That is in effect until 2019, but there is to be a review.
Every year, isn't it?
No,
Or is it
no, it was 5 years, it said, so we're past the 5 years.
They were
So,
open to that one.
and it was for the Plan Commission to review it, so I'm going to also give that to John.
What is supposed to happen with that after 2019?
Supposed to be a fish pond.
That's what I thought. So we can
Agriculture,
base-
that's why it was allowed in an agricultural
Right.
zone.
Because I remember when that all took place, and then it was supposed to go to a fish pond after they get
When
done
they're done.
excavating. So, but are they gonna want
Who
to?
knows, we ain't got till 19 to make a,
Ain't that far, really.
no, so.
And it started in 2000, right?
Mhm.
It's already 16 years old.
Yeah.
Have there been any reviews on it at all?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah.
Okay.
That was renewed for 10 years in 2009.
Okay.
Mhm. That was when the contract
So
was.
there should have been a review like last year?
Yeah, there should have been, yeah. Then as far as, that I guess is all for the plan commission at this point. The library, Ruth is moving her husband in the hospital somewhere, something, so she couldn't come. Fire department, Rob.
Since we met last, we've had 2 EMS calls, 1 mutual aid with Stratford, and 1 electrical pole fire in the township. We have 2 applicants that we're processing at the current time. Both of them are EMTs. We also have gained 1 new member, Kaja Brockman. If you remember back, her husband joined, I think we got him on a month ago. So, the department is utilizing the image trend for all of our vehicle checks. We finally got that accomplished. All the rigs are in there, and everybody that does their rig checks on a monthly basis will be using image trend now. We're currently working on the inventory equipment of all of the equipment. We've basically going to end up probably using my video camera. We'll videotape the rigs. The SD card then will probably be stored somewhere here, over here at the town hall or at the clerk's office. Once we get going, unless somebody wants a different medium for it to be taped on. It'll also be, we're working on getting it in the image trend, so it's also there, basically in their cloud, if you will.
Is that gonna be for our inventory?
That'll be for our inventory of the rigs.
For the insurance.
All the hand tools and stuff on the rigs. He figured it would be easier for us just to go through and once a year do a videotape of it
Mhm.
than try to write down and enter it into something. And then the stuff over $500, we were gonna enter into image trend as we can work it through.
Okay.
Did the insurance company require any inventory list or anything? No.
That's what they're,
So they're gonna get a copy of what.
that's what they want out of it, right? Well, what they said is we keep the inventory list,
Okay,
but then at the time that we file a claim, we have to present it to them.
okay.
So it'll be in our hands, so that once a year we can update it and go through it. And
When are you gonna have the inventory ready?
tomorrow night, the group's gonna get together and they're gonna try to get all the videotaping done of the rigs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other stuff is just as we can get time to get it entered in. Usually we're doing about 4 or 5 big items a month is about what we can get in. Because it matters, we have to go back for image trend. They require the date that it's purchased, the amount of money that was spent on it, where the money came from. So it takes a little time to research all of that for the older stuff. Anything new that we purchase is added in the inventory before it goes into use.
But I'm gonna put you on the spot, I wanna know a time frame of when we're gonna have this done, because it keeps us very vulnerable right now, not having it, the way our insurance is set up.
Completely done,
Yes,
it may be as long as August.
I don't think we can wait that long, you guys gotta get on the stick. Seriously.
Well, then if you're gonna do that for them, then you've gotta do it for the rest of the town, because they want the same thing from the rest of the town.
I do believe Pat has a full inventory that he does every year, am I correct?
Some of it.
Some of it, I'm not sure how much.
I'm almost positive Pat always keeps a very explicit inventory every year. I mean, August is a long time away yet.
Well, I think probably the video part can be done.
Well, right, the video part's done, and some of the stuff is already in there, like a bunch of the defibs are already in there. We've got some of the new breather tanks are in there that we purchased tail end of the year. That type of stuff is in there, everything that we've been purchasing, and we've been going back and getting stuff in there, so it's in there. I mean, the rigs are in there. So I mean, we're working on it, it's just a matter of.
I would suggest you make 2 copies and have one over here and one over there,
Okay.
just in case. If you don't know, if you only have 1 copy and the building burns down, well, the wrong building might burn down.
Well, it's gonna be on image.
It's gonna be an image
It's
trend.
on image trend.
So they'd have it over there and then you'll have a copy
Well,
over
it's
here.
also in
the-
Minneapolis.
In the clerk's office,
Okay.
it's all connected.
Okay. Okay.
Because the image trend is actually
Is
based.
it online? That
Yes,
image
that's an
trend?
online type of, yeah,
Okay.
it's, they store it in their database in
Mhm.
So it's there.
Okay,
Minnesota, so,
so it's in the cloud.
right, their cloud, that's what we've been told, it's their cloud, not the cloud, their clouds.
Well, that makes things more clear.
And like I say, we're working as fast as we can, but.
Well, you know, you start thinking about it and all the, like, the uniforms or the,
All the turnout gear that, I
Right,
mean, they
that
want
is
serial
so
numbers, they want when it was
expensive.
purchased. I mean, we can come up with how much, and like I say, we can run the camera across the racks and stuff so that it's done that way quickly. But to get all the serial numbers in when it was purchased and get that all into image
Mhm.
print, it's gonna take time.
yeah,
And we've only got about 2 people that know how to enter stuff, so.
Yeah, if you get those pictures, that tape, then at least there's a base
Right.
that,
Right,
that
exactly.
you can go to if there is an issue, if you have a claim.
And that'll be the really big thing
That's the
anyway.
key.
Right,
And identifying it is gonna be just for tracking it in the future.
right. Unfortunately, with our mutual aid with Stratford, tender 2 was sideswiped up in the front corner. I talked with Bill and their insurance company, actually I've been in contact with their insurance company already. They're covering it full. There's been no problem with them. We're working a little bit with the estimates. One came out really high, one came out really low, so the insurance company just asked me to get one more estimate, just to see where it's at. So, and that'll be fixed as soon as we get third estimate and they get parts in, so. Also on that call, tender 1, we had a failure with one of the inside duals. When I took it down to pumps to have it checked, they said it didn't really look like a slice. I mean, it was a slit in a straight line. They said that's not typical of running something over necessarily. It may have been a failure with the tire. And then I asked them how old is roughly the tire, and they said 1990. And if you check with some of the stuff that Kevin was saying and how old we're supposed to be running tires, not supposed to be past 10 years old, we figured that it was beyond its usable date, so we replaced all 4 of them. That bill will be coming next month. They didn't get it in time on this time. But they've all 4 been changed. The other 3 are sitting over there. We're gonna check to see if Pat needs them for anything like the outriggers or whatever. If he can utilize them, then we'll leave them with him, otherwise we'll have to figure out how to dispose of them. But they wanted $8 to dispose of them, so we figured we'd find a better deal than that. We sent 2, on Saturday, we sent 2 officers to training in Stratford for basically training the officer that does the training, so. We also at this time have 1 officer and 1 firefighter that's attending firefighter 2 class in Mosinee. The EMS group update. The EMS group has finished their refresher. They will be reviewing and renewing their licenses soon. The group also sent 2 people down to Milwaukee for the WIMSA conference. The first responder service license has been renewed. The EMS group also has a new member. Travis Patton is a licensed EMT now at the state, and he is credentialed with us now, so. And he did that on his dime, so.
The
You
young
see him
one that
thinking.
was 17, when does he turn 18? What is his name?
That's Travis.
That's Travis. He's
That's what I
18.
thought.
He's
Okay.
18, he graduated, and he's gone on, done it all on his
Okay,
own.
that's what who I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about, but I wasn't sure. So he's on already now.
Yep.
Okay.
His dad's in our children.
Yeah. Any questions? Well, one other thing for you two, I do have your emails from the clerk now, so you'll be getting emails when I get stuff a little bit late. It may be in your box, or I may email it to you, so. Like my reports and that stuff, so, if that's all right.
I got your report this time, was that maybe the clerk sent it to me?
We sent it this last time around.
Did you?
We just got it, yeah.
I got that already.
Yep. I know sometimes we get a little bit late with them, so.
I got a question.
Sure.
That the last list you gave us on the firefighters is a little shorter than the one before. I thought we were at like 23.
No, we've never reached 23, we were at 18, and then we had a couple leave, and there's always an influx.
It's ongoing.
Well,
And it's,
I know.
you know, one of those wheels.
We haven't reached our goal of 23 yet.
Oh,
We're working at it, but we haven't reached it, and we do go backwards a little bit.
Interested, we got applications.
Come on.
I'm at retirement age.
So am I. So am I, but
We go up to 70, so
Yeah, you go up to
you're a long
70.
ways from that.
that means you have 5 good years left yet, man.
Yeah. 5 years, 8 months.
We'll take you for 5 years, 8 months.
Okay, we'll go on to the reports. I do have a couple of other things. Gary, we normally have a spring newsletter. So, and we like to get that out before election. Of course, there's just the two of you running, so. But at least it informs people. So, should we set up a date to have something done?
When do you need our stuff?
But we, just so you know, we cannot campaign in the newsletter. So you can't, they can put it out there that the two of us are running, but we cannot campaign under any circumstances. So,
We need a date.
when is our financial statement gonna be ready to put in with it? Because we always like that before the annual meeting, and we'd like putting the financial statement in there for that.
Well, we haven't gotten this far, guys. So,
We have a what?
we have not gotten that far yet.
No, but if we're gonna.
Well, that's, but we, so make it, and,
Well, I think we'd have to have it in March,
oh, yes, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
you know, before the election.
Right.
Because I'm sure you want to put something in there.
The
Put the
election
newsletter
is
out about the end of March, right?
Yeah, you want it out by
by
then.
the end of March, because
So
you're,
you have to figure probably
Middle of March.
middle of March to get your stuff in.
1 month.
By next board meeting.
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
14?
14,
14.
okay. And then, we did get a letter from, Attorney Swid's office that we have not heard, he has not heard back from.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, so, we're considering it done at this point. Dave, that's it for me. Dave, highway.
Continue to kind of battle the winter season. I think Pat mentioned the other day, we'll probably use as much salt this year as we already did for the total last year. I see there's a Wood County bill in here for 3,500
Mm-hmm.
or 3,400, and I assume that's for salt. I think what we're gonna have to bring up at the annual meeting is what is the electric and what are the constituents wanna do about road improvements? We've got way more work on roads than what we have money for, and that's always the problem. We still have to continue to crack seal. We can do some chip sealing, but it's getting to the point where some of these are gonna have to be reground and relaid if we're gonna keep the integrity of what we already have. Galvin is taking a big beating from the County Trunk Heat project from last year. You get down there toward Seafers Farm and Deerfooses, and there's some real pockets in there. There's also some on Elm here and on Stott for that matter. And I don't know how we're gonna address it. So it's something for you to think about. Other than that, bridge inspections, we're coming through with those this year. I believe that was in the county end of it, someplace there.
I thought
Bridge
they did this.
inspection, the pricing would be out by April, because I got that from Towns Association meeting the other night. applications have to be in by the 1st of April. And we have to advertise for bids for any TRID projects. Transportation aids is what, 21 something a mile, correct?
No, it's 2002 per mile, I think.
That was 21.
Maybe it is, I don't know. It's not much over 2,000.
Other than that, we attended the Towns Association meeting over in Town of Emmett the other night. Al Van Portal has been with the Department of Revenue for 25 years. We have in McMillan Township, I think we had, 30 permits.
Yes, it's on that.
30 permits in McMillan, the most of any in Marathon County for permits. Those permits in 2015, I think, were $1,751,000. Our equalized value for 2014 was $188,956,600. Net new construction in 2015 was $1,751,500, and our percent increase was 0.93, about 1%. And anybody wants to just take a look at this, is McMillan's valuation for equalized value is a lot bigger than any of the villages, and even Stratford is at 93 million, so, you know, there isn't that much difference between that and most of the townships, so. Other than that, I don't have anything unless anybody has questions. If somebody wants to look at this, this is put out by Al Van Portal from the Department of Revenue, Marathon County. And it's just has to do with Marathon County. I don't have anything else. Any questions?
Deb?
Oh, okay, nothing on buildings and grounds. The website, did you do anything? Did you?
Put anything on there?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay, for Joint Plan Commission. Plan Commission has done nothing.
What are we waiting on here?
We're waiting on fire department that promised me they were going to take care of one section per month after Fall Fest. We haven't done anything since when, July?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm hoping that changes with one of our new people.
So we got all of that to take care of. Patty's gonna have to learn to put minutes on, or in the agenda. Do you know how to do that on our website? Okay.
I don't even have logins for your website.
Okay, you will, you'll get a hold of John, or I'll get a hold of John and have him get a hold of you. Because you'll have to post the agendas and the minutes on there. Norm was doing it, so I see the last ones were on there. So other than that, everything's out there that's supposed to be, John is supposed to be working from the Plan Commission, there's nothing there. Fire Department, nothing has been put on there. Dave, nothing has been put on there. So all we're doing is waiting for everybody else.
What do you need for the highway?
Well, the Joint Plan Commission is what we were looking at, if there were any changes or anything to that degree. Plan Commission, John said there were gonna be an awful lot of changes, but we're gonna have links to chapter 17 is what that'll be. There'll be a link.
Yes.
That will be sent
Yeah,
out.
well, that hasn't been approved yet.
I
so-
understand that, but there's still
There's
other
some.
stuff that you can, there's a whole lot with Plan
Look
Commission.
at that Joint Plan Commission structure on there, right? That must be on the computer someplace in town.
For what?
For
The
a
joint.
For the Joint Plan Commission.
There is, that's real old, so I don't know if anything's been updated since that point. Okay,
Other than changes in people, maybe,
okay.
or representatives.
That could be, I don't know, I'm not involved with that one, but I do know that it has to, you need to check for some updates if there are any. And then when we get the new newsletter, Gary will put that on, you're in charge of that one. And if there's anything for roads coming up, Joe, for the spring, anything new, we'll have to get that on there.
Okay.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't have to do anything else. My part's done, I'm delegating.
Okay, Joe.
Along that line, I'm trying to do a bunch of refresher work on these permits, and trying to update that, and looking at what some other townships are doing and all that. How we gotta tie in with some of that. We made the changes that county rep suggested, and I've gotta try to figure out what all it means now.
No.
Just,
Haven't seen any permits come through yet this year, permit requests.
Ken Soibert wanted to know, he still thinks he can only go 30,000 pounds.
I called him, left a message, called me back, he hasn't got back to me.
Yes, okay, great. Yeah, that's the message he gave me, and I said, you're the guy.
Yeah,
And, so.
he's got my number. If he
Okay.
asks again, tell him to call me.
Enough
I'm
said.
ready to talk to him.
I understand.
Okay.
Gary?
I was gonna ask about the newsletter. You beat me to the draw.
Okay.
And that's all I have, nothing with
Okay.
the law.
Okay. When you come in the door out here, do you see those pieces falling off? Kind of the,
Off the door or off the building?
it's off of the door frame, kind of.
I'll look at it when I go out.
Yeah, I've gotta have
Said
Pat
when I come
also
in.
check
You said when I
because,
come in, can I see when I go out too?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I've gotta get a hold of Pat too, because we've gotta do something about the hump there where the blacktop meets the concrete. Government Accountability Board will be checking us out. And that's before any elections, and they will be here. I know they will be here.
They were here last year.
And so, we addressed their concerns last year, and, but now we've got this big bump in that blacktop. Somewhere we've gotta do something,
I
because
just saw that
somebody
this
will trip.
afternoon when I stopped in and
Yeah, so we'll have to get that figured out. But anyway, that looks like you're falling apart.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to the clerk for approval of checks and financial report.
So the checklist includes checks 13977 through 14006. And you'll notice on your list of checks that the last check is 14003. There was a data entry for the last remaining check, so the date on 1405 and 14006 is 25, so it's in the middle of your list.
Okay.
Checks total $17,533.64, and that also includes electronic checks 78 and 79.
79 and 80?
Or I'm sorry, 79 and 80.
Yeah, okay.
The beginning balance, $1,955,473.31. Total receipts is $996,491.21. Total disbursements, $1,340,995.73, with an ending balance of $1,610,968.79. And the check that you asked for, I don't know the definition of the acronym, but that was a planning commission expense.
Oh, that's their computers,
That was laptops.
those little laptops, yes.
Thank you.
How many did they order?
5.
Mine.
For only $1,200?
Mhm. They got a really good deal. They had 5,000 budgeted.
I thought we paid that already.
They just got them.
And just got,
They just got them.
we had it in the budget other years.
Yeah, I know, but I thought there was some discussion about them having it already. I thought that was up in the
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept the clerk's report and checks?
I make a motion that we accept the clerk's report and approve the checks number 13977 to 14006, and electronic check 79 and 80, for a total of $17,533.64.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion been made and seconded to approve the clerk's report and checks 13977 through 14006, plus electronics 79 and 80, for a total of $17,533.64. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, for Office Max, why do we have a monthly billing?
Well, we have a charge account there, and I suppose that's just the way they put it, I would guess. I don't know. It probably just monthly we
They
get a
must send
bill.
us a bill monthly, and that's the way it was listed,
Yeah,
the monthly billing. Not that it's the same every month.
right.
Okay. I just looked at it, monthly billing.
Hmm.
There's a bunch of them up there like that, Cellcom, Frontier,
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Utilities.
Those I understand.
Well, and, yeah, Cellcom and Frontier, that's a monthly billing.
Yeah, those are utilities.
Marshall Utilities isn't,
Mhm.
or Me Energies. Those are paid, but they're billed monthly, that's what that's saying.
Yeah,
No, I didn't know if we had bought something that we were making payments on, because that's
No.
almost what that
That's
looked
just-
like.
That's
No.
just what the month's bill came to, I think.
yeah.
That's my guess.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got another question. We're not a locksmith, or we needed a key
Me,
for,
the garage,
which one?
the big one.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
How the hell did you manage that one?
It's kind of special.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, can we take a vote?
We need a second.
I second
He seconded.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Deb? Aye. Dave?
it. Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Okay, treasurer, financial report.
Okay, the checking account statement from the bank showed an ending month balance of $81,842.81. Plus the outstanding checks, I believe you have a copy of that list, $3,775.11. And there was an outstanding deposit of $120. For total reconciled checking account balance of $78,187.70. The tax savings account had $1,390,386.46.
49,
What did I say?
46.
Yeah, well, my eyes are
Just
getting there.
want to make sure. it's correct.
Fire department equipment CD, $20,109.67. Public Works replacement apparatus CD, $80,202.06. Park fund savings account, $8,948.88. Volunteer firefighters fund savings account, $33,123.99. For an ending cash balance of $1,610,968.79.
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's financial report as presented.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the treasurer's financial report. Is there any discussion? Take a vote. Patty?
Deb? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Okay. Unfinished business, there is none. Okay, now, do you have the license for Belvedere, Patty? Okay, you know, we approved the provisional for 60 days, and, that's not up yet, but Norm put this on here, so I don't know. I don't know when that 60 days is up.
Well, we didn't approve it until the 15th of
Yeah, so it
January.
must be the 15th of March.
Yeah,
March, so we have a little while.
so we have until the next
Another
meeting.
meeting.
Next meeting.
Because I think there was a stipulation about taxes being paid or something.
That's no problem there. That's done. Everything is fine.
Well,
Okay.
they had to make sure the other guy relinquished.
And yes, and he did.
which
He
I
did, he
take-
signed that. So everything is ready to go.
And the other license were turned in?
Yes,
That's what you said.
Yeah.
they were relinquished. So,
Does he file an application then to get that, or what?
yes.
Did we receive something for that yet?
Well, see, she
Or just
doesn't know. She doesn't know.
And doesn't that have to be posted?
Or verbal request or something?
It'll,
I think it was in the
The
paper.
application for liquor license does need to be published.
oh,
Yes.
published.
And I can't tell you if that was done. I can tell you that there
I
was
believe
a
it, I
voicemail on
believe I
the,
saw.
For the
it.
It
provisional?
was.
on the phone today that said there was something published Friday today. But they didn't make a reference as to what the publication was.
It was for the our ad.
That's your, right. That was in today's
Yeah,
paper,
yeah.
and that was in the buyer's guide.
Yeah. So, well, we can just put this down for next meeting. So we know where we are.
I'm pretty sure it was in the paper for regular license form. First it was a provisional, and then I'm pretty sure that one was in there for the license.
For the regular?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I mean, he doesn't have to wait for that 60 days for it to be up.
Exactly. So maybe he talked to Norm and asked for that to be done. I do know that all the stipulations were met. So, I mean, if you just wanna wait,
We got plenty of time. We can.
Do we have to do a background check or anything, or no?
on Dale,
Has that been done?
I don't know. I don't
Has
know what he
anybody
did.
checked with the state for anything?
Next meeting we'll get,
Not that it's a problem, I don't think.
no, it isn't.
Never know.
So, and here, this is the one, the approved, disapproved subdivision regulations, that's the one that we just really need to do more work on. And then we need to, a move to approve checks to be written to, this is for our tax settlement, to be written to Marathon County for the county, state, and MFL.
Manufactured forest land.
The monies collected in January, Marshfield, Stratford, Spencer School Districts, Mid-State, and North Central Technical Colleges, and dog license remittal through January,
Why aren't those listed on our outgoing checks?
because they're not ready.
We don't know the amounts yet. The dog we do, but not the other.
When are we going to know?
I don't know, I'll be submitting to the county tomorrow, and what their turnaround time is, I don't know, I would suspect about a week to 10 days.
Because I have a real problem approving those checks without seeing them, because we got some monstrosities for amounts on those. And I'd like to see them listed before we approve them.
I think this is what we've done in the past.
We've always had checks listed. Like in January, they were right on our checks, because we went through them. I don't like the idea of pre-approving without even having an amount here. Checks aren't made out. I don't like that.
When do they have to be paid?
Yeah, that's my question.
I think by the 15th of February, isn't it? Is that the due date?
The county has to settle with the state by the 15th of
February.
February.
So you got about a week.
So how do you,
So the tax information from Steve's computer comes out of JML, goes to the county figures what the municipality has paid for the January settlement, a percentage of what has been received up through the end of January, and then they send us back reports for each taxing district within the municipality, and we write the checks and let them know by the 15th so that they can send it out to the state.
Do we actually send the checks and by then?
Yes.
Mhm.
Because any taxing, anyone that has an assessment within your municipality can actually charge you a late fee if those checks are not issued by that date. And the February settlement has just got an extra step in it because it goes to the county and then it comes back. The January settlement.
Has ours been submitted to the county yet?
Which, January or February?
For whatever's coming up due that we have?
That's February, and it'll be done tomorrow.
Okay.
In February it was extended
Mhm.
till Friday because the 31st of January was on a Sunday.
Mhm.
So they extended the time frame that you could actually pay your taxes
Mhm.
Timely.
Till Monday.
till Friday. And then today was when we worked on the final settlement because the money came all the way into
There is
Friday.
a grace period through the fifth.
For,
Otherwise that would have been sent in already.
Correct.
that should have been listed on our
And
checks.
then we'd have had it, we'd have had numbers then by now.
But because the
Because of the way that
31st
the
being on
calendar
Sunday.
fell and because of the grace period, any taxpayer had until February
understand.
5th to pay timely. So we didn't even reconcile
I
the
understand,
receipts to
Mhm.
but that puts us in the pinch with whether we're gonna approve the checks or
I
not.
think we need to schedule a meeting to approve that. I really do, because you're talking some major amounts. I want to see it. That's my suggestion.
That would be this week,
Mm-hmm.
before next Monday.
All I can do is send them out, I don't know how much time it takes to turn it around in the county.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna want it back on a timely matter too.
Well, yeah, but until he gets it, the turnaround, he doesn't know, and until we get him back, we don't know the amounts.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I got a question. I mean, why do you have to pre-approve? I mean, they pay checks all the time, and then we approve them when we get the
Oh, no,
report.
we're supposed,
Those checks haven't been sent out yet.
yeah, we have to sign
They're
for
written.
these that
Oh,
we
they're
approved
not-
Those
today.
are written, they haven't.
Yes,
Haven't
yeah,
been
they're,
sent out.
yeah, they've got them made up, but they're not sent out. So,
They need to be approved by the board before any checks can go out, actually. I mean, you're talking,
That's what we just did with what we currently have.
right,
But,
with the settlement checks, you're talking some major dollars.
well,
Well, what
Yeah.
what are we going to do what are we gonna do about approving them?
yeah.
well, we'll have to have a special
I mean,
meeting.
Debbie, what's it gonna do for me to see what the amount is?
I understand what you're saying.
What good does that do me?
Well, they're gonna tell us what the amount is.
Yeah.
Right,
They're
so
gonna
we
tell
don't
us,
have
so-
anything on here that even says what the amounts are.
Why?
That's
We
what
don't
I'm
know
saying.
that yet, because the
Because we
county's
don't
gonna
know.
give us those.
Can't we as a
understand.
board approve that the treasurer and clerk
Yeah, you can, I'm just saying that I don't agree
pay those,
with that.
pay those things that we owe?
Mhm. I understand what you're saying, I'm just saying, you can make a motion, you can approve it, that's fine. I just don't agree with it going out this way. Because as far as, we've always done it in the past, that everything was listed, they're normally on our list of checks to be going out.
Except that you would, the
I
date
understand
that
that.
has to do with the calendar, and that's what's put us in this position.
Exactly.
And next year, it probably won't be. So, so how you wanna handle it?
Do you have to be mailed by?
We don't know.
Well, we can't, they,
All we can do, all that's in our power is to get it out of here.
All you can do is get them the information, they'll get you what back, and then they'll tell you when you have to have it back to them. And,
Should we?
and if it's
Get
before,
set up for meeting.
if it's before the 22nd, we don't have another meeting scheduled that we can do that at.
but it has to be in by the 15th. Has to be in by the 15th.
Move to approve the checks written to Marathon County State MFL monies collected in January, Marshfield, Stratford, Spencer School Districts, Mid-State and NCTI, and dog license remittals through January. I make that as a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve checks to be written to Marathon County for the county, state, and MFL monies collected in January, Marshfield, Stratford, and Spencer school districts, Mid-State and North Central Technical College, and dog license remittal through January. Is there any further discussion? You want to take a vote?
Ted,
No.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
No, I'd like to see the amounts beforehand too.
Joe,
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I have a question though. As long as this is passed, can you email us all what the list is, the amounts? So
we
we
can
can
do a
sure
check
have that.
report.
Okay, can you just email it to the board members? Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next thing is the Larry and Sarah Yeager, CSM. We have gone through all of this stuff with the Yeagers. We've got a pile of things. We have even signed the resolution, the whole bit. But now here is the final copy of the CSM. So if you'd all like to look at that, the guy just delivered it to us this evening.
That's this, isn't it? What we got here? This one,
This
right?
is the official one.
And what is this?
We have to sign it, approve it and sign it.
Yeah, same thing, or is there anything different?
Is it, I think it is. Dave said it wasn't, and Deb said it wasn't any different than what you have. Okay? All right, okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the CSM for Larry and Sarah Yeager.
I make a motion to approve the CSM for Larry and Sarah Yeager.
I'll second that.
Okay, and the motion has been made and seconded to approve the CSM for Larry and Sarah Yeager. Is there any discussion on this?
Okay, and this has all been approved by the planning commission and gone through all the steps that it needs to go through in order to get to us. Correct?
Yeah, that's what, we have the whole big packet of stuff. So we've already signed off on the resolution, everything. The whole
Yeah.
board has.
Okay.
So, we can take a vote?
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye?
Gary,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
We need to sign this, I need to get that back in the mail tomorrow. Okay, we'll move on to approve appointed interim town clerk. As we know, Norm resigned his position, his last day was on Friday. Patty has agreed to be our interim town clerk. We have, the ads are out, and so I can't put a timeline on that.
I thought the odds had from what I read, they have to be
12.
by the 12th.
Yeah, but that doesn't, so far we haven't received anything that's been out a week and a half. So we'll see what the timeline is.
I
So,
thought Norm's resignation was for the 31st.
well, it was, but he needed to spend some time to show Patty where things were and work with her. So we knew, trying to figure out what was done and what was not done.
Oh, that got to be a nightmare.
yes, ma'am.
Now we'll have to change that.
Is this kind of all right?
So, yeah, I got Clerk Norm Comer on here, so,
You have to change that.
As soon as you appoint me, I can.
Right.
yeah. You can do it. Okay, all right, is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a lot of discussion on this. We need to know a time frame and when are we going to, if we get any applications in, those gotta be looked at. What's gonna be the process for them? I know you put this out there, but we haven't used the HADOC committee for how many clerks already.
Oh, yes, we have. Yes, we have. And,
When? I
well,
said we haven't for the last few, that I know.
well, no, we haven't because it took 3 months to get it done the first
So,
time.
That's
So,
my question, are we planning on doing that?
I
this
think
way?
that we'll just see what we get in and,
Well, I'd like to make a recommendation that the whole board be able to see what we get for resumes.
Yes.
And then we can make a determination from there.
yes, that's the plan.
Do we need a motion to do that, or?
We need a motion to approve her as interim town clerk until the decision is made on a permanent clerk.
I don't know if you want to leave that open-ended.
Well, we don't,
I mean, well, the term ended April 30th, I believe. Norm's term ended.
right.
Okay.
So we can make it until then, and then make it until then, and then we'll get the,
Application.
well, that gives us some time here to, it may be that we won't go that long. But,
Well, then we gotta make the motion right to
Well, I got a question. If he resigned on the
31st.
31st, how can he sign this for 2/5 on the financial?
Yeah, he can't. Legally, he
because
can't.
because he's, I think, he was here through the end last week.
I understand that, Carolyn, but legally, he had resigned as of the 31st. So
What
he
they-
shouldn't have even been in the office, actually.
No, the agreement was that that would be his last day, but he would stay for the week to spend with Patty.
I understand that, but he can't be legally signing documents or anything if he had resigned. The 31st, he was, I know what you're saying there, he was done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's like, I think I just saw his signature on
yeah, you did,
2/5.
yeah.
But if that's the case, then who should have signed that?
Well, we should have had somebody in
No,
place
Patty could have
prior.
signed it, because she
No,
was
she
the deputy clerk.
Yeah, but
She was the
legally,
deputy clerk.
let me finish. That we do not have a deputy clerk without a clerk, because the deputy clerk works under the clerk.
That's correct.
So legally, she isn't even supposed to be sitting there at this point, because we don't have a clerk. Am I correct?
Oops.
I have
Well,
no
what do
idea.
you want to do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to resolve?
We need to approve the interim town clerk.
The reason you're still sitting there is because I don't want to take minutes.
I could go home, but I thought that might be out of line.
I'm gonna make the motion to approve Patty as appointed interim clerk. I'm gonna say till our next board meeting, and hopefully we'll have some information on anybody that's applied, and then we can go from there.
Very good.
But we might have never mind that. Well, other motion.
Well, well, anyway. We did what the county clerk told me. to
I'll
do.
second the motion.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve Patty as the appointed interim town clerk until our next meeting. Ron, R-A-H-N?
Deb? Aye. Dave?
I
Carolyn?
Aye?
Gary? Joe?
Aye.
And now you're gonna have to be re-sworn in as clerk.
Okay, we will move on to the fire department SOPs, SOGs. You wanna present those, Ron? You all got copies? Hmm?
Mhm.
Mine laying in the thing.
14, did you guys all have a chance to read them?
Mhm.
Any questions on 14 then?
Oh, where did
I know it's 6 pages long, so I wasn't gonna read through it tonight.
For social media, Rod, I guess my question on this is who is going to monitor this? And what are you getting involved in, and are you sure you really want to do this?
I guess the question out of it is we're already involved, whether you kind of like it or not. People are walking around with their cell phones, they're taking pictures, and they're Snapchatting, they're going on Facebook, so we're already there.
But that's on their personal accounts, am I correct?
The problem with it is unless I check them at the door and tell them to keep them in their car, and that they're not allowed in the building, they're not allowed on site, or on any of our instances, or any of our emergencies, then they're gonna be there. So they need to be told what they can and cannot do, basically. And that's what this basically does.
So you're gonna try to tell them on their personal, social media what they can do and they can't do? And you're gonna monitor that? How?
I guess we're gonna have to try.
Well,
On an instant.
yeah, but what this is gonna do is setting a policy
Mm-hmm.
that you have some, you're saying that you have some jurisdiction
Mm-hmm.
in regards to what they're doing. And if they do something that they shouldn't, that doesn't comply to this,
Mm-hmm.
then you can say, okay, this is not right, and that grounds for whatever the penalties are in here. And if you don't have this,
Yeah, but we have
there's
HIPAA laws
nothing.
too, don't we?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
HIPAA laws, I mean, could really,
The HIPAA regulations only revolve to the person,
Healthcare.
and if it's medical.
okay,
If it's only medical, it's only to the person that it happens to. It could be on a fire ground and they decide to snap a bunch of pictures there, that's not HIPAA.
okay.
If that's strictly medical,
For the HIPAA, you're saying?
for the HIPAA.
Okay. I just.
I mean, if the board, I guess the thing is if the board decides, basically the fire department's trying to be proactive on this.
Okay, I
And we're trying to
understand
come up with
that.
this. So if, I mean, that's where we went here.
Question, if we adopt this, okay, does that open that up to open records? These people with their personal,
It says it in there.
I mean, so if somebody comes in and requests the information off of your cell phone,
They already can request it on my cell phone. And unfortunately, Deb, when you call me on and that's the reason that I wanted trying to get everybody
I'm
to
just
go
saying it-
onto the officer in charge's cell phone, because I do not want to use my personal cell phone for Department of Business.
right,
So when you guys give out my personal phone number, and I conduct business on my personal phone, yes, my phone's an open book,
I'm just
unfortunately.
talking about your fire department members, did you wanna put them out there that much to where their stuff now becomes, basically, it's township property, or government property, whatever you wanna call it, to where people can actually request open records on their personal websites, or their personal social media.
Don't they have to use it for that though?
Well, not if you're opening this up, you're saying our volunteer fire departments are gonna have social media, and I think that one kinda needs to really be checked out, because,
Wait a minute, you've
Are you
already had an incident,
Yeah, are you-
correct?
Correct.
You've
are
had
you-
an incident, so that, which means that he needs to address this.
Are you saying that he should be telling them you can't use them?
no, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying if we adopt this, that could open up all the volunteers' phone numbers to open records.
Why would this open it up to open records?
Because it then becomes, you're monitoring their telephones and this type of thing, yeah, that they might be using it for fire department business. You could be opening, you might wanna check on it, I'm not saying it's exactly gonna be that way, but I do believe once you adopt this, that could be an issue.
I guess the question comes to me then, and maybe it goes back to the board here, maybe you want your attorney or the town's association to take a look at this one before we adopt it?
Sure.
I mean,
I
is
just
that
think
where
that
we're,
needs to be something to be looked into.
I mean, I'm open to
because
that. I mean, this is, like I said,
I'm
this
just
is,
questioning, because you could be really opening up a can of worms on somebody's personal stuff.
but I guess the thing is, like Mrs. Open says, there already has been an incident, so,
What's the incident?
basically, we had one of our ex-firefighters take a picture of equipment that was outside the door and then left the equipment there and put it on Facebook.
I don't understand what you mean.
I mean, we had equipment that was delivered by UPS or FedEx, and it was outside the door, and they took a picture of it, made a ha-ha out of it, and then put it on Facebook.
Oh, Mikey did that.
Yep.
He took a picture of it and said, something about big secret or whatever, secret
And
hiding place.
yes, and left it out there. That was $4,000 worth of equipment.
But he would, okay.
See where we're-
You're talking about accountability,
I
and that's
understand.
accountability.
But I guess you can make stuff out of something too that,
There also was another incident down in Hewitt, which there was a training burn, and I don't believe that any of our people were involved with it, but they took pictures and stuff of the training burn and stuff, which was private property, and without written permission from the property owner, that is also in violation, which would cause us possibly to get sued for not having anything.
All we're trying to do is cover the tail.
I'm just saying, there's two ends.
Yeah.
You know, so you might wanna,
Trying to be proactive.
I have a question on
Yes.
use of department social media accounts on app for prohibited without express written permission. Who would be given the permission?
Yes. Right now it'd be me, and basically we have a Facebook
The
right now.
assistant or?
Normally, I usually let the secretary and myself do it, but right now, I mean, I give out the permission, yes.
Because it just says without express written permission and doesn't say from who.
well, I have a question. If you went and, if, somebody's got their personal phone and you heard that they've got something on a Twitter account or whatever, and they told you no, would that be acceptable to you? Or would you have to see their personal stuff? I mean, how far is this gonna go?
What has basically happened in the past with anything that's come up that way, or if anything's being questionable, normally another one of the members say, hey, did you see this?
I'm just saying, you know, but if they say, no, I didn't have it on my phone,
And like I said, ask them to see their account.
see that.
And depending upon what it is, then
We're in a bad situation now.
I'll tell you what,
With all this social media, and I don't know
Because
how
I mean,
you're ever gonna
if I'm
control it.
driving by fire, and if I wanna take pictures of it, I can do that.
you can.
You know, it's not
And you
even
can
an
post
issue.
it, but as a firefighter, you can't.
I understand where you're coming from, and I understand what you wanna do, but I just don't wanna open up a great big huge can of worms. Cause I can see where that can also become an issue.
Okay, we'll take it to the attorney. Take it to the attorney and let him decide how to word it then. It's gonna be a legal problem.
Some more out of my road budget.
Oh, is that fire department?
There's nothing set up in the fire department budget for attorneys that I know of. Right?
Okay, let's move on. Well, so what are we doing with this? We're gonna table this one? Is that what we're gonna do?
That would be my,
I
I
need a
think it's
Do we
gotta
need a motion to take it to an attorney?
probably, it's probably gonna get expensive
Okay,
for them to evaluate it.
I need a motion.
I move that before we approve this, that we have a legal opinion on it from an attorney.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to present this to, for a legal opinion. Any discussion? Okay, vote.
Deb, aye. Dave,
Don't.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Station staffing. This is a guideline. Do we,
This one, the reason that I would basically ask you also to vote on this one, the basic reason for that is with the staffing and stuff, we're basically going to be allotting $10 if there's a meal involved over the time period. So because there is $10 per person allotted over that, it would be something that the board would have to approve. I mean, I have it within my power to basically have the people in there 24/7, but because I would be paying them $10 or allotting $10 per meal, that would be something that the board has to approve because it's a budgetary item.
Okay, now.
And I have it in my budget to be able to do that if it happens, so.
Okay, now, for, this is one, which one are we looking at?
115.
115. Okay.
115.
For the event of a disaster or weather, whatever, who determines that?
At this time, basically what will happen is if I'm not around, I mean, if I'm around, then I would determine that. If,
And what you're asking for is people to stay overnight there?
correct.
Okay.
And if you read all the way through it, it's fully voluntary.
Yep,
It's
that
on
I
your part.
understand.
Yep, okay.
But okay, the part I have a problem with is what determines an emergency, for one thing, to where we would have to stay overnight there when we also already have mutual aid and Mavis and pay for an ambulance service and, you know, what determines the emergency for us to stay there?
Basically, for me, what we would consider the emergency is if you cannot safely get from, let's say, Spencer, Stratford, or Marshfield to get out here.
Okay, but you got in here that if they're gonna be staying there,
Yes,
okay, for an emergency,
yes.
how in the hell do we get down to Festival to charge food?
Let's back up and let's just use the last snowstorm that we had.
Mm-hmm,
We did not do it, but in an instant like that, we knew it was coming,
mm-hmm.
so they could get the festival and purchase it. I mean, obviously, if we're on a call, we get out here and say, hey, it's not good to go back to Marshfield. They're not gonna go back to Marshfield Festival just to purchase food.
Well, I mean, but that's what
But
it
if it is, but like the last one, if we knew that we were gonna do it ahead of time, then they would be able to get the card and take care of that.
Okay, but what determines an emergency? School closings, 2 inches of snow? I mean, you gotta have some guidelines so that we know what we're
Tornado,
looking at.
flood,
Huh?
tornado, floods.
Yeah, but that's gonna be beyond us anyway.
Well, no, it isn't. This is what he's talking about.
That's what he's talking about.
This is what he's talking about.
But
And that's
where-
mainly what you're talking about. It's not just every day you're gonna be,
No,
you're just gonna stay, somebody's gonna be staying. That's not what this is all about.
Well, usually if you have a disaster, you have Red Cross stepping in and.
Well, you do eventually, but you've got,
But you've got to, there could be, in an instance like that, there'd be a reason to have staff at the fire department so you knew you had them there.
Right.
And they wouldn't have to try to get there because they're there already.
Okay, but at what point are we gonna determine this? I mean,
Well,
are we
I don't know how
talking
you could
snowstorms?
possibly put that in a guideline. Because what are you
this
gonna
is
leave out?
guidelines.
What are you gonna leave out that all of a sudden, oh, you can't do that because it ain't in the guideline?
Well, that's what I'm saying, what determines whether,
That's up to the chief.
Yeah, it has to be.
That's up to the chief.
that's
That's
what
his
I'm saying,
discretion.
is it gonna be school closings, is that gonna be the point when they start closing schools? Are you gonna wanna look at it then, or is it gonna,
How many, they close schools all the time, you know.
I probably wouldn't consider it closing schools, because like I
No.
say, that's done too much. I mean, that's done for temperature. Normally for us, temperature's not an issue. I mean, things that would be for us would be the ice storms maybe, depending upon how they're coming through. A tornado, roads closed up and stuff like
I know what
that,
a
power
disaster
outages.
is, but I'm just saying.
Well, that's mainly what this is about. That's mainly what it's about.
That's what I'm asking, because it doesn't say that. It says, in the event of either weather or disaster.
There you go. It's a disaster. And the chief will make that determination,
Correct. Or as it's stated here, officer, it's.
the
that's
officer
right.
in charge.
my understanding that Pat sometimes stays here overnight. Does he get a meal? Or
No,
will he want a meal?
No,
no, he doesn't.
I mean, don't you usually have food over there in the refrigerator?
We have some stuff over there, yes, but we'd have to replenish that, and this would allow it to be replenished also. I mean, because we keep pancake mix and some stuff like that over there, non-perishables.
You know, they're reasonable, supposed to be responsible.
I thought you guys had a, like a 2% dues or something, and you guys took that out of, didn't you? Your food allowance?
No, that's not allowed to come out of there.
Okay.
That's,
it's
it's training.
training.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just
These are just guidelines. You know, the thing is that you never know. You never know if something's gonna happen, and it's just to protect all of us if something does happen. But how many times have you had somebody over there? Not anybody that stayed overnight, as far as I know,
I know we
for
never
5
have
years.
in the past.
I
No.
That I know.
so, but it's just to cover you.
I only know about one time in the past, Pat would know better on the date, but I know several years ago, there was a snowstorm that basically the guys maybe shouldn't have went back home. I mean, one of them lost track of the road and ended up out in the field on the way back to the station. And I believe it was up here on Eve, I believe. I wasn't on the call, but
That happened up on Light Corners today. Poor car ended up in the field. So, anyway,
because they won't slow down.
yeah, exactly.
I think what we really need to take a look at, and maybe you can get this for me, is we're still a volunteer fire department, and I know we do have guidelines. And when we started paying, I believe there was an issue. When we started paying for them to go on fires, am I correct, Dave? We were on a real fine line at that point. When we started paying for you guys to go out on fire calls and
We've been paid for
a lot of years.
a lot of years, yeah.
But there are guidelines that we have to follow as a volunteer, so I think we need to get a hold of those and make sure we're still within those guidelines.
so you're saying being in the station,
I'm
Would be
saying
outside
the
those
amount of
guidelines?
money that you're kind of requesting on each one of these items, I mean, you're looking at compensation on the next one that you're gonna hit us up for, you know?
Everybody's complaining about there's nobody volunteer to do a damn thing.
I'm saying, Dave, there are guidelines
If you
for
want somebody
volunteer
to
fire
show up in
department.
an emergency, Deb,
Mm-hmm. So we're supposed to give them $10 for food, that's gonna make them show up? I'm just
no.
saying, we need
You brought the next one up, and there's the
Mhm.
compensation one.
yep,
Now, we've got people that are taking off their job that aren't getting.
Dave, I understand that 100%. All
Well, then
I'm
what are you
saying
arguing
is,
about?
we have guidelines we should be following for a volunteer fire department. We're getting to the point where we're paying them for everything that they come in for, am I correct?
If you would let me explain the rest of it, we're down on numbers. Maybe this will help recruit some new people to volunteer. I think we've exercised all the options we have at this point. We've increased the wages. I was ready to quit a number of years ago.
Mhm.
It's not only this department, it's Stratford, it's Hewitt, it's Lincoln, all of them.
But are we still within the guidelines of a volunteer fire department?
Well, this thing isn't, we aren't paying these people to stay at the station, we're paying them on a meal.
Just so they can have a
Right,
meeting.
Right,
right,
They aren't getting paid
right.
as far as the payroll paid.
Well, then, I guess the question on here too, it says, is a D, awake and ready for duty no later than 800. Are they gonna get paid from that point on?
basically what I mean, I could change the wording if that would make you feel better, but basically the deal is, I don't want people sleeping in the station at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives them time to get up. And it's in a terminology that is used in fire departments.
Okay.
That's
But I
The reason
mean,
that is.
to me, it looks like, okay, at 8 o'clock, you better be ready for work and you're going to work here. You know,
No,
that's,
but it says it's a voluntary basis with no pay compensation to man the station at any time under this guideline.
mhm.
So they aren't getting paid unless they're on an emergency call.
Right,
Just to be at the station, they aren't getting paid,
Right.
right?
okay.
They don't get paid for being at the station.
I guess I just need clarification on that. But like I said, we still have to find out what the guidelines are for a volunteer fire department to make sure we maintain that. Because otherwise, I'm guessing we're gonna hit the next level to where we're paying everything. So does that put us at a different level from where we're at? Do we need to be looking at a full-time fire department then?
Where are you finding your levels?
They have a guidelines for a volunteer fire department through the, what is it, Department of Commerce? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I know that there is different tiers of things, but I know that Stratford is still a volunteer department, classified as. They have, I know that they get paid for meetings, I forget what the exact amount is. I'm thinking like $8, but I'm not sure,
Mm-hmm.
per meeting. They get paid the same amount as we do for on-calls,
Mm-hmm.
and that's basically where that's at. They have an EMT staff, which is still classified as volunteer, and I believe they get $2.50 to be in the station on call. But they're still classified as volunteers, so
Well, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking if from the, we should have a guideline through the state. They must have something that says what qualifies for a volunteer fire department. There has to be something out there. So we don't,
So the guidance to me is you wanna make sure that you stay exclusively volunteer.
well, that's what we are.
But I mean, that's where,
Under the.
you wanna make sure that you stay
we
under
meet
that.
Under those guidelines, because we are a volunteer fire department. Because if we overstep that and then we're supposed to be a full-time fire department, well, then we got a whole new ballgame that we're playing.
Correct.
And we haven't determined that one yet.
Well, we know we're not a full-time.
And that's not where we're headed. I mean, that's not what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
We're trying to get our attendance up a little bit to meetings and trainings, that's where we're at. That's what's behind this. And it's also behind this if you're gonna switch from the staffing one to the compensation just a little bit, because basically you're lumping the two together, which is fine. If you look at it, it's also to take care of some of the other smaller stuff that you guys get. So that everybody understands, so when you get a phone call or whatever, you have it in print, what we get.
I cannot see where you give someone $10 for a meal is gonna threaten your volunteer
Volunteers.
status.
Or hurt it.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that shouldn't make a difference one way or the
It
other.
shouldn't make a difference one way or another, so I think that, and that's what he's asking for the station staffing. So, what are we doing with this? We need to move on. We have a motion to approve, this is just a guideline. Standard operating guideline, 115 for station staffing. What do you want to do with it? Don't everybody speak up at once.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the guideline number 115.
Okay? I'll second it. Is there any further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote.
Deb? No. Dave?
I'm gonna abstain.
Carolyn?
Yes,
Gary?
I think I'm gonna abstain just because I want to.
okay, then it fails.
Got one more.
Joe?
You gonna leave me alone?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said you made the motion, maybe. I guess I
I'm
already
gonna vote no.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Is
then
there
we,
some, I guess before we can lose this.
before you move on, what do you want?
Is there, yes, is there something
What do you
that you would
want?
like changed to this? Is it the $10 hang up for the meal? Or is it having somebody in the
It isn't
building?
even the $10 hang up for me, it's the idea of having people staying overnight there when we are sitting with, we have mutual aid, we have Mavis, we have the, I don't see where it's necessary. I just don't, and if we have an emergency,
That's not the point.
The other thing, I guess,
Missed the point.
well, that's all part of
I
this,
mean,
wasn't
that
it?
normally, under any most normal situations, that's not gonna ever be needed.
I
But
understand
this
that.
is an emergency where the fire chief says, hey, we gotta have somebody at that station,
Mhm.
for whatever reason. And, he's gotta have the authority to be able to do that. I understand where this is going, I just don't know if it's right, that's why I voted no. Okay, that's gotta clarify a little bit more, and,
Well,
and
that's
I-
basically
to-
my, I just don't, I just don't see it at this point. If an emergency is declared, okay, you basically can do what the hell you want anyway, am I correct?
well, at that point though, you wouldn't have underneath the definition of an emergency. I mean, unless the governor states, I mean,
When I.
unless the
looked at it-
governor pulls it, no, I don't have that.
Well, I thought you
Under
did,
that.
according to those meetings that I went to before I ever became supervisor for chain of command, if we have a disaster or anything, an emergency in this township, you're running the show.
The town chairman has to call it though.
Yes.
I can see where that would be a problem.
So I can't, I mean, this gives, I mean, the thing is
No,
this
that's
gives
the way
me,
it goes, and the way you do is you get a hold of your fire department, and then you call your county, emergency rate, and
Yeah.
that's it. And then they take over,
If
So-
If you
feel-
have an emergency.
yes.
So there is protocol you have to already follow.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what your FEMA classes, your ICS are. Their classes are. That's it.
and the other thing that's getting to be, I guess the norm out of this is we're no longer getting residents on our department. Back when, I mean, John and Carl and stuff were on the department, we had a high amount of our firefighters were residents, which puts them in the township, which means less mileage to get to the station. We are now pulling people from Stratford, Spencer, and Marshfield.
Mhm.
So with that being said, you now have a travel distance to get to the rigs.
Mhm.
And the equipment, I mean, some of the stuff, I mean, if it's a bad snowstorm or whatever, we have a sleigh and a snowmobile. So you could leave the station with the sleigh and a snowmobile.
Mhm.
Or underneath other circumstances, Pat, I mean, he's staying in the town garage, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, he's staying there. That means that our people are with
With
the
that.
plow truck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We followed to the incident the other day.
Actually, he led, he didn't follow.
I said, we
He
followed.
Right,
followed-
right, okay,
he
We
yeah.
followed him
Correct.
to the incident the other
Yeah.
day.
Correct. So I mean, that's where we're kind of with that.
Mhm.
And I don't see it, at the short term here, I don't see it getting any better of getting residents. I'm beating the drum and going out and talking to people, but for whatever reason, residents aren't.
Well, you know what what you've been told,
Which is,
because of the conflict that there's been. People don't want to have anything to do with it.
yeah, and that's gonna take some time to get over.
Correct.
But it's not helping right now. So,
Very good investment.
Yeah. Oh, God.
conflict within the town.
He says, what conflict? There were issues.
Well, could I ask, what seems to be the problem when the guys leave? Do you ever do like a, I guess, businesses would call it an exit interview?
Since I became
They just
chief,
don't
I've
have
tried.
time, or,
But I mean, as chief, I've tried that because in the past, basically everybody was left to leave. I tried to talk to some that left before I became chief, and after I became chief, basically nobody wants to come and talk. I've even tried the avenue of having the town chairman try to talk, figuring that maybe it's somebody else other than the chief, so that if I'm the problem, they'll talk to her on it, and basically they kind of don't have time.
No, they won't. I have written letters. I have written letters, and they won't even respond to them. I mean, they won't even tell you.
And I mean, a couple of them that did leave, I mean, just be quite blank, a couple of them, one left because he moved to Wausau. I mean, he's too far out of our district. He couldn't find any suitable housing in McMillan, so he went to Wausau. Another one got a job over in Minnesota. I mean, that's some, they're not all leaving disgruntled. I mean, it's not,
But the disgruntled ones that have left, chief, the last chief that we had, as a matter of fact, caused some problems.
correct.
Yes. And
Well,
that's
I
where
know,
part of
Phil,
it.
a few years back, there was like on Dale Fulton, a few of them
Mhm.
got out there. I guess that was over. I never did hear the whole story, but I guess.
Correct, that
there
was
were a lot of
another,
internal
Yeah.
yes.
problems
Yeah.
there. We're always gonna sit down and talk about something.
You're always gonna have that, I guess you just gotta kind of get through the storm.
So
and-
you try to get through it, and I think that my hat goes off to Rod. He's trying to put some things into place so that we can try and, have some semblance of something. So, anyway,
You know,
it's failed.
maybe on some of this stuff, sometimes if we had it a little more time, rather than get it on, like I picked my stuff up Saturday, and here we are Monday already, well, nobody's got any time to go over anything and try and find, get questions answered.
So I'm just, on this one here, I mean.
What do you want him to do?
Correct.
You go out and hire an attorney, you're gonna get as many opinions as you got to hire an attorney.
Yeah, we don't need an opinion of an attorney on this.
I didn't think so, I was hoping that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Would you like another month to think about it and come to me with ideas, or?
I mean, it's just a guideline. It's a guideline that,
Yeah, yes.
and
The answer to that is yes. Let us look at this and see if there's some wording we want different in here in order to
address it.
make
Next meeting.
it satisfied everyone.
Okay,
Okay.
I think that's right.
So we'll table that one.
next meeting. All right.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking here earlier on the first ones that we pushed back. Should we be making a motion to put them off to the next meeting or not? When we don't act on them,
Oh, I don't know.
like the liquor license?
Well, we tabled that, so.
Right, I mean,
It's just.
should we do
You
that
can
in a
make a
formal
motion.
motion or not?
No, you don't need to.
You don't need to, because it's, as being tabled, we haven't made a decision on it yet, so it should be brought up at the next
And then
meeting.
it just gets on the next agenda and that's where we work.
Okay.
Okay, then I think
Sometimes though,
Well,
it is appropriate to
that's
make
why
a
I was
motion to
wondering,
move it
that's
to
what I
the
thought.
next meeting. So.
Well, let's
if
get
it-
through this next one, because we'll probably end up tabling this one. For the number 116.
Yes.
Okay, if you go down to, the bottom section in A, we do not have accident and special sickness insurance through our workman's comp insurance. We don't have that.
What is the terminology for it then?
And we have workman's comp,
We can slice that.
okay, because.
Just need workman's comp, an accident?
No, not even the workman's comp is, if you get hurt, you're covered. The extra that you're looking at, accident and special sickness insurance, would be like an extra payment if you lost an arm, or if you, something on that, or if you got, inhaled too many fumes and ended up getting sick, or a special sickness type thing. Because I called the insurance
But that would
company.
that would come under workers' comp.
No, this is over and above. 'Cause I-
But I mean, if
You're
you
saying
got,
if they
if
did
you
it
got
at
sick
home?
because you were inhaling too much smoke, that's gonna be covered under workers' comp.
That would be covered under workman's comp, but if there's a special, I called, rural insurance on that, and I asked her about it, and she says, it'd be like an extra payment if something did happen over and above what the workman's comp is. So if you lost a limb or, things on that order. And the cost on that roughly is $300 a year for the extra. So maybe you wanna look at it, because I had asked her what the cost was, and she says the high end would probably be right around $300 for the year to add that on.
So that would be if they were on duty yet, or they were at the station? Or
That would
that's,
be for the extra accident and special sickness insurance over and above the workers'
But that's
comp
gonna
that they
be
got
like,
first.
that's gonna be a separate insurance, kind of on the order of Aflac, like the Doug.
Okay, we'll just
Where
strike
it's
it.
coming from.
I think under there, that was,
And what she's saying is that's something that we could get,
Right,
but you have to realize it's gonna cost $300 to get it.
I think at this time that wasn't their intent.
Okay.
I mean, we do have the
And that would-
workers' comp
That
that we
would
do
cover,
have.
that would cover, like she said, that would give you a schedule of things that regardless if it was covered by workers' comp, if you lost a hand, there's gonna be a certain amount of money you're gonna get out of that other insurance besides what you get from those.
Right.
I don't think that was their intent. You were there, Dave. I don't think that was our intent.
Okay.
It was the max we had, so, yes.
So we should leave it.
I was wondering what
Workers'
that was
comp.
about too.
Yep.
Is it a bad thing to have? No, I don't think so. I mean, for $300 to cover everybody, I think that's actually a small price to pay to get that extra.
If that's right, yes,
Mhm.
if that's,
Well, that's what
Well,
Jennifer
they
told me
have
for
the
rural.
workman's comp,
I know. but
rural,
if
so
that's right.
it's,
But the accident and special sickness insurance, we don't have.
right.
And I had asked her exactly, what is this? So, and she kind of explained it.
Well, they can look into it if they want.
And she said.
Yeah, they should look into that, because that would be, $300 is not very much for that many
Mhm.
people.
Nope, he said he had given, she
Doesn't
had
sound like
given,
enough.
no, well, she said she had given Kevin a quote when he was on, and it was right around $220. And she says, she had recommended something like at $240, but she says now it would be up around the $300 mark. So, and she said that would be the high end, because there's like a couple different policies.
And you sure that
can look
wasn't like per person?
at. No, she didn't say that.
It sounds dollar-wise, based on what I see at work, where we're covering our employees and some of that kind of stuff, whether they're buying it themselves or we're paying for some of it. It's more, the number is more like $300 per year per employee
Mm-hmm.
than $300 for 20 employees.
You might want to check and see what
You
we've been in
might
that
wanna check
office
that
for
out.
quotes.
Yeah, it does.
You gotta keep in mind though, we're not full-time.
Well, yeah, that's different, so.
You know, I mean, our workman's comp is what, about $1,800 a year?
No,
No,
5.
5,500.
No, for just the fire department.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah, that might be why.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
And see, I see you got it in writing. All members shall be allowed to clean their vehicles at the station as long as it does not interfere with fire department business. And I really don't have a problem with that. What I'd like to have in writing, because I was told that you weren't supposed to do it, and, you know, I caught Ron over there, who actually isn't a member of the fire department anymore,
he's an honorary.
He's honorary.
doing it.
He's honorary.
So that was, my question is to, he's still gonna be able to watch
Yes,
it.
he's an honorary member underneath us, yes.
Mhm.
I think he was there before the fire department, wasn't
He was at the,
Right.
at the beginning.
he?
I
said
think he was
before
at the
it even
beginning.
there.
Oh, well, probably then. Okay,
Right now, you get $15 every time you go out.
mhm.
$15 an hour, yes.
And then you,
You're adding the
but
$10
now
for
you're
training,
wanting $10.
for meetings.
Per meeting, yes.
So how many meetings, like, do you have in a year or whatever? And where's that money gonna come
Here,
out?
did everybody know about this?
No,
No,
No. Get around that.
I don't have it.
I just made it a couple hours ago.
That's probably we don't have it.
I have one, I read mine now.
Okay. I didn't know how far we were gonna get, so I didn't know if I needed to throw that sheet or not. Basically, there's 36 meetings a year, 12 are business, 12 are fire training, and 12 are EMS. most of the time, the EMS personnel, which there's 6 of right now, do not show up, or they show up to basically all of the meetings if they do. And usually firefighters do not show up to the EMS meetings, usually. So that number would be less. Basically, right now, we're averaging 8 members per meeting. We have 16 members. That's why we're trying to go for the $10. Hopefully, we can get a few more people showing up to our meetings.
Okay, was any of this figured into your budget?
No,
So it's not in the budget currently for 2016?
currently it's not in the budget as such. We would have to try to trim or get creative on a few other things to make it fly. As you have in front of you the numbers, if you stay with the 8 members that show up, the average number of meetings right now would be $2,880. If you stayed with our current staffing at the 16, that would be roughly $5,760. If they showed up to all the meetings. And then if we ever reach my target of 23, and that's a target, we're not there yet by any means, we're at 16, that would be a worst case scenario of $8,280.
Where are you gonna trim from to get it?
Well, some of it is if you go into our training budget and stuff, we had 2,000 in there for payroll and stuff out of the training. Last year, I believe we didn't even hardly touch that at all. So some of that would go towards
It
it.
would come right out of there.
Some of it would come out of there, and if it got excessive out of that, we might have to get a little more volunteer to maybe do the slab out front or something that way. That's in our capital improvements.
Slap out front and out back.
Out front. Well, we consider the south side of the station the front of the station. That's where the rigs roll out. This is the back side of the station for us.
And were you gonna replace that old slab?
There's,
Because I went back there a while ago, and it's like, if that was at my house, I wouldn't do anything.
well, if you look, our concern is if you look in front of where tanker 2 rolls out, that is starting to drop. And it's cracking away. I think, I want to say it was like there's a cut mark. It's like 10 feet from the building, and we were going to go with the cut mark towards the building. The rest of it was going to stay.
I mean, you could just go back 3 or 4 feet if you really wanted to. You wouldn't have to go back that whole 10 feet.
Well, that's what he's saying. There's a cut mark.
He wants to go back 10 feet.
10 feet?
Then
Well,
cracks.
we were going to the next
Oh, I see.
cut mark.
Towards cut,
I
right?
Where
thought
the
you were
cut mark
talking
is,
about-
and that was a recommendation I had for 2 people that
Okay,
looked at it,
let's
so
get back
that's
to
where we should
this
go.
one.
That's,
Is that something you're expecting you're gonna be hiring done?
that's where we put
In the
10,000
budget,
in
you had that set up
to
that
do
way?
that, yes.
The difference between 4 feet and 6 and 10 feet on that would be almost nothing.
Right.
The labor would be the same. You just have a little more concrete. on it. Save what's on it.
We're dropping, it's dropped quite a bit.
I went and looked at it last fall.
Well, if you've got some
Are you
money in
gonna
your,
work
in
with
your
that?
training, you know, I mean,
Something we keep-
I
I
think,
mean, what's to say that the next one isn't gonna drop too, you know?
It's maintenance. We're smoking here.
How old's the building? I mean, I'm just roughly.
No, I'm just saying, is there something that we can do to prevent that?
Put more base course in and whatever
There was roughly, I believe there's more than 8 feet where the fill put into that end of the building, and that's the end, it's the far end
Mm-hmm.
where there was more fill that was put in, so it should be compacting over time, and so it shouldn't drop again. I mean, like I said, the building's at least 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
so this drop of 1.5 to 2 inches has been over the last 20 years, so I don't foresee it dropping away, you know. I mean, if it would, then I'd say we bust it out with gravel or some cheaper blacktop or something until it finishes off, but it's,
Yeah.
okay, do we have a motion to disapprove the fire department compensation?
So pretty much what you're looking at basic is what you're not getting already is $10 per meeting.
correct. And just to kind of let you know, I guess, out of the deal here is, as a chief, I felt, I mean, going through it, I put 5 in. Firefighters basically wanted 10. So I mean, it's not me putting the number there, they put the
Now,
number
does
there.
the chief and fire chief, is that over and above what you guys get also?
What?
Over and above what you guys get for your salary?
I would consider it yes.
Okay, because do you get $15 an hour then, even with your salary to go out of our fire call?
Correct.
Okay.
There is 12 meetings a year that are not included in this, and the reason I did not, those are officer meetings, and those would not be compensated,
Okay.
because the officers are already getting compensated. It was our, with our stipends.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the fire department SOP 116 for compensation. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the fire department SOP 116 for compensation. Is there any discussion?
Yes, there has to be a correction made to take out that accident and special sickness, because we do not have that
Oh.
at this point.
Well, you should have had that in I should have had that in the motion.
Yep.
I don't have the thing with me, so.
Do we have to also say something to the effect that we don't want this to come, that it has to come out of the fire department budget this year?
Well, it's gonna have to,
It has
that's their
to.
budget.
It has to, it's their budget,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. With the correction of,
Second part of A,
I don't have mine. The motion.
I crossed it off.
Okay. With the change in the department member benefits A, all firefighters will automatically receive workman's compensation.
No.
So the motion has been made and seconded with the
Correction.
correction.
Yep. Aye. Dave?
Abstain.
Carol?
Aye?
Gary?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Very good.
And can you still please find out from the Department of Commerce if they do have a guideline for volunteer fire departments?
Yes.
Because I'd like to see it if
Sure.
they do.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to adjourn, but I do have a question. How,
I know there is a guideline.
you know,
There's no different than the city. They got.
I asked Norm to stay on for this week to go over, to get, show Patty
Yeah,
how
and I
things
just want to
work.
make sure
And
we
he
are
actually did
within our
prepare the
guidelines.
checks through that week as he was asked to do it, you
I
know.
don't want to do
I asked him to send it
Point of order, we didn't vote.
I know that, okay. But you adjourn, you said, and I said, before we adjourn,
So she was.
Point of order.
Vote on it.
There was a couple conversations, I'm sitting in the middle of.
excuse me,
We
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
before,
Just want to get the facts.
okay. I want to discuss this before we adjourn, if we may.
It's
So-
open for discussion.
Okay, the discussion is not this, not the adjournment, except I want to hold it for just a minute.
Is
With
this the only thing that he signed this week?
I'm concerned here. I had asked Norm to stay on this week to go over things with Patty,
Mhm,
to stay through Friday.
mhm.
He prepared the checks. Is that correct, Steve? Patty?
That's correct.
He did prepare the checks because I had asked him to stay that week to get things in order. So therefore, I don't want to leave this undone.
Yeah.
So,
Did he sign the checks already? Did he put his signature?
no,
on?
there's no signature on the checks.
So who's gonna be signing checks then for?
Well, we have to go into the bank in the morning and get her name on there before a check can be signed tomorrow.
Because we have to have clerk, treasurer, and a board member, or a chair.
Yeah, that's what it's always been.
Or is it,
And,
or
but
can
she's
it
can't,
be, or can
Or
it be?
a board member can substitute for the clerk.
There you
Yes,
go. So
yes.
we do have three.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's what
Yeah,
I was
three
asking.
yes,
signatures.
yes. That's why we all had to sign,
Okay.
except you did.
Except me, I refuse.
Is there anything else that he signed besides this? This week? As clerk?
Digitally signed a survey to the extension office. Other than that, I don't know because it,
And that was a form that we were given that we missed the deadline on.
correct.
Is there a possibility of getting a hold of Norm and asking him if he can change his resignation date to last Friday?
Absolutely.
See
I've
if
got
we
the
can do that,
paper.
so
Okay.
that we can keep everything
So
that
we
he
can-
has
yes.
signed legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we asked him, because Nan Kotke, the county clerk,
Actually, we have not accepted his resignation at this point, have we? That was never on the agenda.
it wasn't on the agenda.
So no, it has not been accepted. So we're still in the clear so far.
Well,
Well, technically, our
technically,
chairman accepted it.
I did accept it
Okay.
due to the guidance of the county clerk and the Government Accountability Board. There you go. From the state, from Madison.
Okay, so you accepted it, so we can't have to change anything. So some things are gonna have to be redone. Because you can't have a signature on there after you resign. And that's one of them.
Well, that's what I'm
The question is,
trying
who's gonna
to-
sign this?
Yeah.
Because Patty wasn't the clerk,
No,
so she can't, it doesn't.
And she didn't prepare the checks.
no,
So, but he was under the guidance of staying that extra week, which the county told me, you need to get him in there to make sure that she knows where everything is and get this straight. So, I mean, I don't know, you know, that
She's
was
going according to what the county clerk.
what the county
Okay.
clerk told me I had to do.
but we still,
Why don't you present that to Nan? And see what she has to say about that. Carolyn or
Yeah.
Patty,
Nan.
one-
Ask the question.
somebody,
yeah,
bring that question up to
I will
Nan and
do
see what
that.
she has to say about it.
I will do that.
She might have a real simple answer for it,
yeah, we're
rather than
screwed.
us try to figure it out.
No.
It's gotta be simpler
We're
than what
not
we're thinking.
screwed, because he didn't sign the checks, so. So, anyway, okay, that's where we'll go with it, because I didn't wanna, okay, now, the motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, adjourned.
So now when Patty quits, please let us all know ahead of time, you know, the day it happens, so that we can